And you know that many times a very good algorithm can reduce the needs of the hardware. What we are, for us, is very important is that you need to really do a lot of effort so the hardware side will be as simple as possible and as cost effective as possible. We don't want that the cost of the hardware will be the barrier to implement. And we want people to think about what they need and then use only what they need. But to have it in a very optimized way, so you don't have a lot of different and fragmented solution, but you have one holistic platform that bring everything, merge all the data, okay? And then give you something that take into account all the data, all the sensors, and you invest one time.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumitech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with CTech. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders, and meet Eran Ben Shmuel, the CEO and co-founder of Juganu. Beginning his career unconventionally as a classical violinist, he changed direction and earned his B.Sc in electrical engineering and physics from the Technion, Israel Institute of Technology. Eran has over 15 years of experience building high-tech companies from zero to mass production, and he is an expert in solid-state electronics and high-speed control systems, and he holds numerous patents in physics and algorithms. Juganu is his second startup with his partner, Alex Bilchinsky. The first startup of the two was RF Dynamics. The invention was the magical oven, a technology that allows high degree of control and rapid energy transfer to food products based on digital high-power RF components capable of modifying the frequency, amplitude, and phase of radio waves transmitted in ovens. He always brings together a wide range of tech fields to solve unmet needs, just like he did in Juganu, which significantly impacts people's lives. For example, what they're doing lately in Philadelphia, Arlington, Mexico, Guatemala, and Brazil. Meet Eran. Eran Ben Shmuel, CEO of Juganu. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
Very good. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to talk about science, about technology, AI, but all of that towards a greater vision for a greater future where our cities are connected, our retail is connected, we're in a data-driven world, which allows for pretty much everybody to be connected and to make good, proper decisions, and hopefully also create a bit of lighting along the way. So, Eran, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited.
My pleasure.
You're a scientist by background, yet also entrepreneurial, and you spend your career diving into deep scientific research and implementing really interesting insights into these companies. What sort of guides you in the way that you think through research or science that excites you?
I always attracted to the science that can lead to some, results that we can see and you can feel, and you can, you really see the impact that you are doing in the short term, more or less. Not the science now that will do the impact in 20 years. This is what attracted me. So I always were amazed by the ability to imagine something and see it in realization. And I like to imagine. I like to. I like the fact that I can be creative and work in this. So to do something creative and to impact. And I think that technology can be very meaningful to our life. And this was the main issue that attracted me. And I think that I was dealing with such a variety of technologies that was every day in my life is very exciting. So I think that I'm very fortunate about it.
I love that sentence. Every day my life is very exciting. I think that's if I had to bring together what are the way that I want to live my life or why we do what we do, it's exactly for that reason. A little bit about Juganu. Tell me, even before what Juganu does, paint me a picture of the world today. And we go out to the street and we see beautiful weather and beautiful streets, yet yet you perceive something meaningful that is missing for us.
Yeah.
What is that?
I think that the contrast between the world that we are living that is in the online, such an amazing world that feel that you're doing shopping in the online, you feel that they know you. You have such a strong tools in the online, while in the offline, usually you don't have it. Of course, all of us are used to see tools that are mainly connected to security. Or in the retail, yes, you used to see some things that are very fragmented. Um, and what really intrigued me is and you see a lot of development in the AI world, all the capabilities of the machine to help. And really speaks about things that can do good impact. Okay, I don't really mess with or care about things that are connecting to mainly about security or these things, but to do some really impact on us as shoppers, as people that live in a city. And the concept between the huge capability in the AI side, in the connectivity side, and in the other side to see the digital world such a development, and in the bottom line you are going to a supermarket and you buy exactly like my grandmother bought. So there is no big difference. I go inside, I look for the product, and I feel it can be much better. To go in the street and see someone falling and you need someone to call help. It's not. It's really difficult to understand why in these times it's like this. So I think that to bring the technology to do a really impact, to help, starting from the lights, by the way, the lighting. Why not to create lights that are like the sunlight? Okay? Why to bring artificial light that has so much disadvantage? It's something unacceptable. And the communication, how you take the data that we are live, make it accessible, and put all the tools that amazing people created, a lot of insights, a lot of creative thinking, and bring it to realization and to really insight that can help us. And this was a string me, and this was the basic of Juganu. Juganu wants to take the offline world and to make it accessible, to bring all the digital tools to be to bring insights and to be accessible in the offline. That's what we are doing.
What type of world does that make? So what is sort of I mean, it does sound intuitive, like this is something we want, but what type of world does it allow for us to have? What impact does this have down the line on the way we live our life, the way families raise their children? Because you're touching here on our very livelihood, you're touching on our streets, you're touching on our stores. So how does this unleashing of creativity that you're talking about, how is that changing sort of the way that we're going to live our life?
So I will give you an example. In some place in Latin America, in some very big city, we installed our system in a neighborhood where people couldn't go out during the evening and feel comfortable and enjoy and do sport and go with the family because of security, because of understanding they don't have the real support to have if they have some problem or something. And after we installed the system, I went there, and it was amazing to see how people, because of this transformation, it's connected to light, communication, to digital tools. They started to go in the night, to start to enjoy with their families in the evening. And I think that this is one of the biggest things that I experienced that make big changes to people, how they live. But I think it can be much more than this. When we envision autonomous cars, when we envision all the connectivity that we start to see that a lot of technologies start to combine together in order to give us a lot of benefits. So when you go in the streets, and my child, that is a small child, I have 4 children. So my 5.5 years old child is doing a mistake and wants to cross the streets. I want to know that there is some alarm that's alarm the drivers, be careful, or some danger can come. Okay, it's look like a dream, but actually now we are doing a system like this, and it's connected, and it's allowing the cars. But in the same time, not only transferring the data to the car, but actually change the color of the lights in order to alarm. This is dangerous. Be careful. So the light becomes from white light to red light and blinking. So very simple thing, very visual thing, and just even if it saves one child, it's not good enough. So I think that this is something that is really crucial. That the infrastructure will help us to live better.
Right. I think it's I love that example because then obviously very easily we all agree save one child. Isn't that enough for us to put this throughout the whole city? And obviously the answer is yes, it is enough. And the implications are endless, right? Because then we're talking about connectivity. It's not necessarily just a closed system. If we're talking about a near future of autonomous cars, and today we're talking about getting to precision and accuracy with our existing sensors that are limited by nature from their visual fields, then by adding additional layers of parameters from sensors across the domain, I think that obviously it's incredible. Tell me a little bit about Juganu as a company now. So sort of what did you do? What did you develop as Juganu, and sort of the implementations to date?
In Juganu, we are solving some basic problem that cause a very big barrier from cities and retail to implement digital solutions. One of them is the initial cost. Everyone speaks about 5G, but we all know that in order to implement 5G, a real 5G with really good bandwidth and good connectivity, you need to invest a lot of money. And in order for this, we try to harness the technology to enable a sophisticated system to reduce this initial cost, reduce this barrier. And only when you are doing it, you can enable the spread of this hybrid communication in areas when you don't have a lot of money that you can, in the middle of Manhattan, to put some connectivity, but to put it really in every corner, in every place, in the US, in the world, in Brazil, in Mexico, in Guatemala, not about only the rich parts can put like few blocks. And in order to do it, because everyone deserves good connectivity, I think that your President Biden say that the connectivity is the new electricity. I think that people now expect to have good connectivity, good access. And in the pandemic, we saw that if you don't have good connectivity, you are just left out from the ability to be connected. And I think that what we did, we created the ability to connect one point to another point to another point. And this is how you do hundreds of thousands of points only by wireless connectivity. We created a very complex, but in the end, very simple to install, a system that just delivers the data between one to the other in a very efficient way, very robust way. So it will be the back or the baseline for deployment of big installations and creating a platform. We call it a platform that can enable implementation of 5G access points, small cells, Wi-Fi access points. You can implement sensors, multiple sensors. It can be connected to the existing sensors and bring a lot of data to one place, and to bring the data, analyze the data locally in the far edge, in the fixture, and then you literally create smart city in the effort of changing a light bulb. So it's the easiest thing to do. And now you create this sophisticated system that can enable you to have all the access, all the benefits of a smart city.
Okay, so we're saying, on one hand it's an easy thing to do, but it does require, I'm conceiving of two blocks, and there are probably more, but one of them perhaps is a regulatory one where you have to first explain what you just explained to me. You have to explain it to governments and to municipalities, and I'm curious to hear what that conversation is like. And I'm also curious to hear about sort of the operational process of doing it, because you have to essentially go and perform some infrastructural operation, or not infrastructural, you have to do some operation across the city in order for it to be connected and be meaningful. How do those two things play out in your world?
First of all, it's a process. And when we speak about cities, is to be with the right attitude to understand that both parties need to feel comfortable and good. It's the city and it's the citizens. They need to feel good. They need to feel that this solution comes to help and come to bring value to them. So we are doing pilots, we are doing installations, we are working with different companies, different cities worldwide. By the way, we are now in a very big implementation in Brazil for 5G deployment, but at the same time bring them the value of the safety, of the heat maps, of traffic management, of traffic light control, everything that bring them the holistic solution. So sometimes we are working with government, sometimes we are working with municipalities, sometimes with companies that have the will and the need to do this transformation. It's a lot of companies that try to do it. And I think that slowly, it's become something that people feel that they need it. Because a technology can be threatened, but it can be something that really change your life. And I think that if you do it in a responsible way and in a very honest way, understand that you own no data. It's not yours. It's the municipality. It's the people. You are only here to help, to guide, to make things accessible. And you do your best in order to give them the tools to manage their data and their infrastructure. And you are only a tool. So that's all. So you give them the tools and they are using it for the benefit. But you give good tools in order for them to bring a lot of value and insights so they can manage better the city, manage better the stores, and give a lot of value.
So there is the software side and the hardware side, right, of this company, which presents, it's almost two different challenges. That one, you need the hardware in order to get the data for the software. You need the software to give the value to the decision makers at the end. What about this strategy? Because it sounds difficult to be able to do both and do both very well. Was that a necessary condition for this company to thrive? Were there different considerations there?
In the end, if you want exposure to an ability to take data and to analyze, you need to be there. You need to do something. You need to install something. So this is the hardware side, and we work very hard, so it will be easy to implement and not difficult. To replace a light bulb is not something too difficult to do. It's something that people do every day in every place in the world. It's not something difficult. It's something, and when it's modular, you can put any number you want. You can start and grow with this. In the software side, it has to be something that is connected between software and hardware, because you need to implement the basic hardware, but you need to do a very sophisticated software in order to support it, so you get really good data and you get good analysis and you get the right background and infrastructure in order to run all the tools that you need. AI needs very good data, and you need to make sure that this data is good, and you can implement tools that bring real data and accurate.
Right. So that balance, because it's how do you know how much, even as a CEO, resources to put on one versus the other? You can continue building out the hardware to get more and more data. You can shift some of those resources to building out the software. Are there limitations? I mean, do you see them as sort of competing for resources within the company, or is it mainly two verticals which you're growing as much as possible that you can grow them, and they don't necessarily compete against each other?
No, I see them very complementary, because understand, we are doing the platform. We are,
Right.
And our goal all the time was to do a platform that can be used by third party as well as Juganu. So we are not trying to say, if you implement this platform, you need to use Juganu applications. No, we try to make this data accessible, and then amazing people come with great ideas, use the data, and then give amazing insights. So our goal is to make this platform optimized regarding the hardware and the software, in order to give the tools to developer, to third parties, to bring the tools and to the insights and bring all the value to the customers and to the cities, to the retail. So basically, it's growing together. And you know that many times a very good algorithm can reduce the needs of the hardware. What we are, for us, is very important is that you need to really do a lot of effort so the hardware side will be as simple as possible and as cost effective as possible. We don't want that the cost of the hardware will be the barrier to implement. And we want people to think about what they need and then use only what they need. But to have it in a very optimized way, so you don't have a lot of different and fragmented solution, but you have one holistic platform that bring everything, merge all the data, okay? And then give you something that take into account all the data, all the sensors, and you invest one time. I believe that as we are a company that even develop a technology for lighting, it's part of our system.
Yep.
You need to think about the environment, and about the environment, it's to save a lot, the maximum that you can, but to save with infrastructure. It's not possible that people put every other thing that they need, they create another infrastructure.
Sure.
It's just not possible. You need to be optimized with this too, and then the effort to do it will be optimized and minimum.
Eran, it's fascinating on so many degrees, because I think that one of the things that it's amazing for me is that you're working on something that once we'll have it, it'll seem so trivial and it'll seem so obvious that humanity needed it. Yet today it seems like it's still not science fiction, but it seems a little bit futuristic, and it's not a central conversation. But companies like Juganu, I mean, that's exactly where my inspiration stems from. And I can only imagine all of the creative use cases of what people can do and what software can do with the data that you will be creating. I think that it's remarkable. And I'm still with that thought of that image of a car coming into the driveway within, a neighborhood, and all of a sudden the street lights changing, or perhaps an alarm sounding, and lives being saved because we have this ability for connectedness and to integrate this data. So I think it's amazing, and I appreciate your time and your energy, and I wish you best of luck with Juganu, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Thank you. I will invite you to see interesting implementation. I think it's thank you for your kind words, and happy to talk whenever you want.
I'm ready. Thank you, Eran.
Thank you.